Today I'm going to be going over supply and demand zones and how to utilize them. So a demand zone is typically when the stock reaches a certain price and it shoots back up because investors demand the stock. And a supply zone is when investors tend to sell it because they believe it's too high. So TNA, this is a small cap ETF. This is probably the best example of a supply and demand zone chart that I could find. So probably on this third touch is where you draw the demand zone. You would see all these wicks and how quickly it shoots back up out of this demand zone, this rectangle, and then you draw it out. So then you would extend it to the right, and next time it hit the demand zone, you would take the trade. That's how you utilize demand zones. So you drew it here and you extended it to the right. So say it came down here, you would buy in at $77. You can see the price on the right over here. So you buy in around 76, 77 bucks, and you ride it back up to the supply zone, which is 100 bucks. So you just made like 30%. So you can see the supply zone because stock climbs into it, rejects it, climbs in again, rejects it, again, rejects it, again and again. And it's just the TNA just bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. So next time it hits the demand zone, you would buy in and then sell it once it touches the supply zone. Another chart I have, ECTX on the daily. Oops, sorry. So these big wicks are typically a good indicator that it is a supply zone or a demand zone. So you would take the supply zone, draw it, fit both these wicks in, and then you would extend it to the right, so you can use it for future reference. As you can see, this is the daily, by the way, so each candle represents a whole trading day. It comes into the supply zone and gets slammed back down. And you can see on Friday it did it again. This is now the 2 minute. Each candle represents 2 minutes. This was Friday. It came in supply. So if you were day trading this, say you wanted to buy in here or here or here, you would say, okay, I'm gonna sell it at the supply zone because I know that's typically an area where it sells off. So that's how I could maximize my profit. So that's perfect. That would have been perfect. Okay, we got another SQBG. This is the 1 hour, so each candle represents 1 hour. This is the demand zone. You can see how quickly it shot up out of here and how aggressive this green candle was. So that's a good indicator that this whole chunk is now a demand zone for the future. So you would extend it to the right. And the reason I drew it this high is because of this wick right here. I wanted to include that wick. So you'd extend it to the right. And as you can see, this presented you a perfect trade opportunity. Comes out, if you saw it, it comes out of the demand zone. You buy in like 12 bucks or so, and then you could have taken it all the way up to like 16 bucks. Actually, you could have sold it at $18.74, but you can't sell the top every time. Another TKAT. Okay. This is a 4 hour chart. Each candle represents 4 hours. So here's your demand zone. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, that is a demand zone, but that's not what I was looking at. This is the demand zone. This is your demand zone. And you can see how it's giving you a trade opportunity right now. It's coming in the demand zone right now. So here's how you take the trade. Personally, I wait for it to come lower, but you could get in now, and you give yourself a stop loss of right below the demand zone, or you could make the demand zone smaller by just including these wicks, and it's still in the demand zone. So you'd say that you want to give yourself a stop loss of $8 right below the demand zone. That's when you'd sell. And previous demand surges to supply, so you'd sell it once it hits $15, because that's now your supply zone. So there's a good trade opportunity. You buy at 10, sell at 7.80 if it comes down, and sell at 15. So on the upside you got plus $5. On the downside you got minus 2. That's like a 2-to-1, better than 2-to-1. IFBD. Oops, I already have it drawn out. Whatever. That's your demand zone. And you can see you could have drawn it right here. Right? You could have drawn it right here. You could have said, okay, this is now my demand zone. And to give myself trade opportunities in the future, I will extend it to the right. And you can see how it came down right into the demand zone. Use your stop loss as, all right, if it surpasses the demand zone, I will sell it. But it didn't. It held it very well. And you could have bought in 350s, and you're all the way at $4 now. DPW. Okay, this is the weekly. Each candle represents one whole week. Oops. This is your supply zone. That whole square is your supply zone. And you want to extend that to the right. So now if this thing ever gets another run, you'd say, okay, $6 and up, that's all the way to $11. That's a big supply zone. Oops. That's where I want to sell. That one wasn't very good. CIDM. Oh, this one's clear as day. Alright, so you could have drawn your supply zone right here. See these 3 wicks? Or it's the demand zone, sorry. Here's your demand zone. You say, okay, I want to extend it to the right so I can give myself trade opportunities in the future. So there's your demand zone. You can see, okay, it's in my demand zone now. I'm gonna buy it, but if the trade goes wrong, I'm gonna sell it at 108, $1.08, because that is below my demand zone. But it didn't. It held the demand zone. So it came up. You buy at $1.12, right all the way up to $1.70. That's phenomenal profit. Or you can call this your supply zone, and you could have sold like right here. So 155 if you want to play it safe. There you go. It just hit the demand zone again. So you could buy now and ride it all the way up to here. So, but nothing's guaranteed, obviously. It could just knife right through it, but it probably won't. So there's that. TIRX 4 hour. Okay, this one's, I already drew it. This is your supply zone. If this thing ever runs again and goes all the way up to $18, you know that you have an edge over other investors. You know that this is where you'd want to sell. And despite it being at $5.69, $18 is not out the question, because this thing runs like crazy because of the low float to market cap. ATOS daily. Here's your supply. There's another supply. Oh, here we go. Alright, so supply turns into demand once surpassed. So this stock surpassed it. It's now above the supply zone. And use it as a demand zone. I guess it wasn't in the demand zone, but it bounced off it a couple times. And if you want to take this trade, this is probably not a bad spot to buy. You'd say, okay, $9 and $8.70, that's my supply zone, that's where I'm going to sell. And $4.40 is below my demand zone, that's where I will sell. So that's a pretty good trade opportunity. Of course, I'm just using the chart. I have no info on the company. So yeah, there is how I explain supply and demand zones and how to use them for trades.